Welcome back to the next episode of Bar Banter. This is what, 4 now? Since the rebrand. It could be 187.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
We you know what? Listen, if you're not keeping track, then that's on you.
Yeah.
The way that I look at it, but
if you're a true fan, you're a true fan.
Yeah.
You know.
I will say though, the one thing about this episode though, if you've been following along, obviously we've got great content, we've got great banter, we've got great things going on, but you're in for a special treat today.
We do have a special treat today. As you can see, we got our Happy Dads, hashtag not a sponsor, but would love it to be. These are the Death Row edition. It's a 4th of July episode. As you can see, he's got his USA baseball attire. And with all these other goodies that we're throwing at you, we are having our first ever guest. You heard it right. The first ever guest. Ladies and gentlemen, my good friend, Tommy Dukes. Welcome to the pod. Introduce yourself. Give us a little rundown.
What's up, guys? Tommy Dukes here. Great to be on with y'all. I have known these fellas for a long time, and it's a pleasure to be on with y'all. Born and raised in Orlando. I'm kind of the golf guy, and
Absolutely
we look forward to having a little dialogue, and I'm just really excited to be hanging out with you boys. Even if it must be remotely, even if it's remotely, it's good to see you fellas again. So we're going to have a lot of fun tonight.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I'll tell you this, you know what? We feel really privileged because, it's not every day that Tommy breaks out the jacket.
Yes.
He's got the jacket going. He's really, upped his game for this. Tommy, tell us a little bit about what's going on tonight. It's 4th of July Eve. And, what are the plans? What are the plans in Tommy Dukes' world right now?
So I'm glad that you asked, Eric. So guess what? All right. So today was another total banger of a work day, right? So I'm in the medical business. I saved probably half a dozen lives today. I tell you what,
At least.
And then I actually, believe it or not, cut out a little bit early, okay? Because I felt like it was unpatriotic to be working at about 4 o'clock or 4:30.
I agree.
On 4th of July Eve, right? So
Absolutely.
An old haunt of mine in Orlando, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it.
So you say it.
I had the fried green tomatoes, and I tell you what, I may have had a couple of non-alcoholic beers, which were awesome. Miller Lite. I don't know if they make a non-alcoholic version, but that's what we had. And then I went to volunteer a little bit at the soup kitchen, and I handed out some bowls of soup, just because that's the kind of guy I am, working in the community. And then I met up with some kids, and I helped them learn how to swim. And at the pool, then the weather rolled in, and so we just ended up hanging out under the cover there, and I talked to them about the lightning and everything, and how we can't swim in the lightning, and they really appreciated that. So then I came home, and I tell you what, my new project is I've been working on the guitar lately, right? So okay. So I've been working on the guitar. This has been going on for a couple weeks now, and right now I'm working on the song "Can't You See" by Marshall Tucker Band, and it's going great, gang. It's going great. So that's about what my 4th of July Eve looks like. But I'm really excited tomorrow. I'm going to the beach with my my little boy LT, little Tommy. We're gonna go
LT.
Set some fireworks off tomorrow. What are y'all up to this weekend?
Well, first of all, we'll get into it, but I mean, there was a lot going on there, and we got to unpack some things. First of all, you buried the lead. I'm surprised. Next time that you're on, you got to have the guitar for us so that we can get a little taste of that. I'm going to tell you, a pillar of the community. The guy's out there saving lives. He's protecting kids. I mean, it's unbelievable what goes on in Tommy's world. So for us to be able to get him going on is great. But
Yeah.
here's what our eve looks like. I mean, our eve is being spent with you,
Yeah.
having a few moments to be able to talk with you here. We're gonna do some pool stuff tomorrow, hang out, have a good time with everybody in the neighborhood and in the family and that. So it's gonna be a good one. But yeah, it's always a pleasure to see you, Tommy. I will say this. I want to ask you, since we got you on. You're probably a scratch golfer. I mean, as far as I can tell, you're a tremendous
Not
athlete.
even close, but
You
go
got
ahead.
to be close. What I would say is, so okay, when you're out there on the course, what is the focus? Is the focus, you know, making sure that you get as many reps from the bev cart, or are you trying to shoot that low score? What's Tommy's round of golf look like?
That's a great question. And it depends on who you're playing with and what you're looking for, right? So golf needs to be fun, right? I was the captain of the high school golf team. My senior year, we went to state. The following year, I wasn't a part of that team, but really I developed a lot of that talent, right? So
It checks out. That checks out.
yeah. No. I was a very poor high school golfer, bottom half of my team, but I did play, and and it and when I was a younger man, I took the game way too seriously. Right now, golf is all about having fun. Golf is about being outside with your buddies and enjoying time with your friends, right? So it is no longer to me about about shooting a good score. Yeah, I'd love to hit some great shots, but really, what I like to do is play a scramble. I'm not sure if y'all are familiar with that,
Yes.
but
Yes.
Love the scramble.
yeah,
Love
I
the scramble.
play a two-man versus two-man scramble in my foursome. I feel like that gives everybody an opportunity to participate in every shot. There is a team element to the golf outing, and the outcomes are much better for the group as a whole than they would be for each person individually, right? So if I'm playing a two-man scramble, nobody's going to go out there and have a 10, you know.
Right.
And so even we'll play like a par high scramble sometimes to keep the pace of play going, and that does a few things. Number one, if you miss your birdie putt, you move on. It keeps the game going quickly, and also, really, what we're out there to do is to hit good approach shots, to hit drives in the fairway, to hit greens, and to make birdie putts. That's what everybody wants to do on the golf course, and so that's my focus now. It's really more about camaraderie than it is about individual performance.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, right? Like, so I mean, we're look at none of us are gonna make a living doing it, right? But
Oh,
so when we're doing it, we got to have some fun with it. I do want to ask you though, because we're talking about the golf stuff and things like that. What are your thoughts on the whole live golf versus PGA golf thing? Like, I mean, when live first happened, it was like, okay, what's going on, and
Mhm.
then now it's like I almost feel like it's kind of outlived its
Yeah.
usefulness. Like, let's get these guys back into these tournaments. What's your take on it?
yeah. So I am um, for anything that gets the most good golfers in the world on the course at the same time. And that's something that we had before, really on like a week by week basis, before Live came along. Now, as a guy that needs money, right? Like in the perfect world, like morals aside, if Liv had come to me and offered me several $1 million just to play golf, like less than I would on the PGA Tour with a field that is a third the size of the PGA Tour field. I would have taken that money, frankly, and that's just because I'm trying to do the best thing for my son. Now, is it the best thing for the game of golf? No. Again, what it does is kind of bifurcates the talent, and so I think you've got some good talent on Live. I think you've got some washed up talent. I don't think that Dustin Johnson's able to win a major anymore. I don't think that. I think that John Rahm is able to win a major. On the
I was gonna say like guys like
Bryson DeChambeau, obviously, you can see the transition that they've made, right? Starting in Live, and then what they've done. Obviously, you could talk about Bryson's maybe choke in the Masters or whatever, but he still won a U.S. Open, things like that. And then obviously, there's a lot of big names out there like the Koepka brothers and things like that. It does produce some good, but at what point is it just like, okay, we get it? You know what I mean? Tom, what did we gave Ricky Fowler a nickname? I don't know if you remember, but we gave, well, I don't know if we gave it to him, but that he goes by a nickname.
Is that from personal experience?
It is not from personal experience.
That nickname came from one of the coolest golf events in the whole world, and that's the Waste Management in Phoenix. The hole, I think, is number 16. I've never been there, but it's a total stadium seating atmosphere. And it's it's the most unique atmosphere in golf, and that the fans are loud, right? And so I think there was a big Rick uh, nickname that came about. That was not my doing, and it wasn't your doing.
We went with it though.
We went with it though.
And the thing is too, like he was
He's my boy. I ain't doubting.
Yeah.
He's built for that stadium. He's built for that tournament, right? Like, I mean, he's the fan guy. Like, I mean, passing out hats, doing the whole thing, the whole 16, all that other kind of stuff. And to your point, Tommy, when you talk about the TV stuff, that's the thing that always frustrated me when Live first happened. It was like, I want to watch this.
And you can't.
And then it was like, you got to watch it on YouTube. You got to watch it on CW. Now you can catch a little bit of it on FX and stuff like that. But I want to see these guys play.
Right.
Now that they're coming back and playing in the major tournaments, it's like, well, why are they just not coming back? And the reason why they left to go play and Live, the PGA fixed a lot of those things. The purses are bigger. They don't have to play in as many tournaments as they were originally required. And so it's like, okay, let's combine the stuff. Let's figure it out. Let's get these guys back on the course at the same time, because I agree with you 100%. We want to see them week in, week out, playing,
Definitely. And one of the things that I thought was telling was I saw an interview with Bryson DeChambeau. Maybe it was in and around the U.S. Open, but his contract with Liv is coming up next year, right? And so they asked him about it, and they said, what does that look like going forward? And he said, yeah, we're looking, quote unquote, I think we're looking forward to renegotiating sometime later on this year after the majors wrap up or something to that effect. But what I did not hear from him was a commitment to remain with Liv. And so if they're not going to provide those lump sum payouts, which I think would be very hard to sustain for them, for that level of talent indefinitely, I think you're going to see that kind of negotiating tactic from the players. Like, yeah, I've given you Liv 2 or 3 good years. Now let me talk. What can you do for me now? Because the PGA Tour also wants me back. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
And Bryson, it was kind of the thing too, where he was kind of like the weird, awkward guy on the PGA Tour. He goes over to Liv, he embraces this whole I'm gonna create social media content and everything else, and everybody loves him now, and he's doing all this stuff. So it's been great. Now we need to see him more than just in the majors. We need to see him in every single tournament. We need to get him on TV, and we need to bring. And there was the and I don't. Tommy, you're connected. You got all the insights and everything else, right? Like Brooks Koepka, I think there was rumors that I heard where he's unhappy with Liv. He wants to talk to the PGA again and see what's going on. I think that for the fans and everything else, right? I mean, we let's get a deal together. Let's get this figured out. Let's, merge these things and get the best golfers in the game on the same course.
Yeah, I would say that's what the fans certainly want, and hopefully that's what the powers that be can put together. But that remains to be seen, because I think the fans have wanted it for a long time. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
especially because, like out the jump, Liv was a more entertaining thing, right? They got music playing while they're teeing off. You can wear shorts, you can do all these cool things. It's like a more fun approach to golf. And these guys, and then of course everybody had their, their disagreements with the PGA, and Liv was there, and it's kind of. It's kind of like you look at wrestling, right? Like WWE, these guys were mad. They went to AEW. Like, there's always another place you can jump ship to, and then these guys always tend to find their way back. Like, a lot of the guys that left AEW found their way back to WWE. There's a few guys now that were like, I'm never going to play in the PGA, that went to Live and were like, well,
yeah, and the guys that they're like never are like the Sergios and things like that. They're in the twilights of their career anyway. So the people we want to see. The Brysons, the Brooks, the John Rahms, they'll come back. And I think it'll be good. I think that the idea of it was we love the Ryder Cup, we love the atmosphere, we want to create that week in, week out. I think the problem is we got
dogs running wild.
The problem is with it though is that
there's the jump now. You notice that jump she did?
I think the thing about the Ryder Cup, and the reason why the Ryder Cup because it is every couple of years.
Yeah.
And if you have it every single week, it kind of loses the entertainment value.
There are, I want to say, there's the Zurich Classic is a 2-man team event, but golf inherently is an individual sport at the end of the day. And I don't think the fans want to see, who collectively finishes between 4 golfers lowest. I think that the fans want to see who is going to make that putt on, in the case of the PGA,
it probably won't be Rory, because
the 72nd hole, or in the case of Liv on the 54th hole, who is going to be able to make that putt? Who's going to miss that putt? Who can't make the putt, and that's also a storyline. Is are you consistently unable to make that putt? But the team golf thing, in my opinion, is a novelty. I don't think it sticks with the fan base. I could not name any. I can name live golfers, and I'm a golf guy, and I'm embarrassed to say I can't name who's on whose team. But I also think that not a lot of my peers that are quote unquote big golf guys, and I'm not a professional journalist. I do this on the side for fun. But I don't think the average golf fan has any idea what team is in the lead in any live tournament. And
No.
again, it's going to be a function of TV coverage and whatnot.
Mhm.
But I also think that the nature of the sport, right? So let's compare it with swimming. Okay. So we all know that Michael Phelps, right, is the greatest swimmer of all. Katie
Right.
Ledecky, right?
Yes. Yes.
You have no idea, nor do you really care, frankly, how their teammates did, right?
Right.
So that's an individual sport where we are looking for a first place, second place, and third place for medalists,
Yes.
right? It's like auto racing, right? Now there is a little bit of a team aspect to to NASCAR and to Formula One, but at the end of the day, what I think the fans are looking for is who won, who came in second, who came
Right.
third,
Right.
and so I think that golf um, golf has that in common with those other sports where you're looking for a medalist as opposed to a winning team. And I think that formula is really not too the team formula is really not too desirable amongst the fans, maybe beyond an event or two per year, and with the exception of the Ryder Cup and the President's Cup, which are national events. So that's completely different.
Oh, and that's I think what makes them even more exciting is that the fact that if you don't win it, you've got to wait 3 years to
Right.
you
Yeah, 2 years for the right, but yeah, you're 100 right, and you got to wait 4 years until you're back on your home your home turf. So
Right. Yeah.
and I think too I would like to see I said the only thing that I would like to see is I would like to have one tournament a year where we match up the LPGA players with the PGA players and then we have a two-man team that way one tournament a year to do that. I think it would be great and to move on with that.
love it, man. Can you imagine the ratings?
Oh yeah. That I mean it'd be
Florida and Charlie Hall with
Yeah.
Rory McIlroy and you name it, Xander Schauffele
Yeah.
or whoever. But
Yeah.
I would love and maybe those don't even need to be full field events. They could almost even be made for TV events. But even if they were full field events, I would watch. I would watch.
Yeah.
I
Of course.
love
Yeah.
I love, and especially an amateur golfer, the best thing to do is an amateur golfer, frankly, is watch the women play because I cannot shape my shots like
Dude, I'm gonna tell you.
Oh, no chance.
No chance. Yeah. The women's golf is really incredible. I got a chance to see like almost like a minor league of the women's golf a few
The
weekends
Epson
ago.
Tour up-
The
yeah.
Epson Tour, yeah, and those girls were really really good. But yeah, I mean, anything to make the game of golf better, especially to a casual fan, because what's the thing everybody always says? Golf is boring. How do you watch that? I don't want to play it. It's boring. It's slow. Da, da, da. So all these into play. I mean, Liv tried to make golf more entertaining to the casual fan, and we kind of saw how it played out.
It just wasn't rolled out.
It
the
wasn't
right
rolled
way.
out the right way.
But so Tommy, I do have one more question for you. I'm going to we'll save talking about your Braves for another time. I'll spare you that.
Yeah.
This time, what I do want to ask you is because I know and I've been a part of watching you on the grill. And,
Okay, there it is.
And I'm gonna tell you, watching you on the grill is like watching Beethoven on the piano, right? Like, I mean, it's unbelievable. What is
A deaf Beethoven on the piano. Good.
What is
I tell you what. So, not anything fancy. I am going over to Ponce Inlet, which is right next the beach, which is right next to Daytona Beach. So really, I'm going to Daytona Beach. My parents have a little condo there, and we were doing burgers on the grill for the 4th of July.
classic?
That's one of the most American things that you can do.
Yeah.
Burgers or dogs. I'm way more of a burger guy than a dog guy, but there might be, and some may call it blasphemous, but there might be some hot Italian sausages thrown in.
Fantastic! There's
But,
no blasphemy there. That's a great play.
yeah,
I'm going to ask you what's the best side dish for a 4th of July? What's the best side?
there will be a combination tomorrow of French fries and tater tots, maybe some beans. But I'm a carb guy. I like to carbo load for my long runs. I'm an endurance athlete, so
Yeah.
I like to carbo load before my big days. And July 4th will be a small day, endurance athletics wise. So July 5th will need to be a big day. I'll have to carbo load really heavy for that long run on July 5th. So you're looking a combination of French fries and tater tots.
You got
That's a
you
good
got a
one.
half
That's a good one.
marathon or a full marathon planned for the 5th? What do we got?
About a half a 5K.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, about a half a 5K.
Tommy,
Yeah.
I didn't hear.
But that's endurance. That's endurance, and some swimming in the pool, right? And some
You
swimming.
gotta swim in the pool. You got.
So I'm a biathlete, running, swimming, and in the pool in the same day. So
That's a good. So
Basically, you're training for a triathlon, is what you're saying. One of these days, are we going to get a Tommy Dukes triathlon?
yeah, and if you include auto racing, right? Like driving all the way to, to the beach, then yeah. I mean, call me.
you got. Yeah. All right.
You know what? Here's the thing. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna once we get off this, we're gonna schedule this. We're gonna plan it. What we're gonna do is we're gonna record the Tommy Dukes triathlon, the driving to the beach, the swimming, the running. We're gonna record and we're gonna do a Tommy Dukes triathlon and let everybody see what peak athleticism looks like, and I think that's made
that'll be
made
strong.
for TV, right?
Yeah. Have y'all ever heard of the sport of cycle boxing?
So, okay.
So Tommy is-
you got it. Tommy is he's a pioneer in the cycle boxing world, and Tommy, I want you to tell us, what the cycle boxing is and what health benefits you get from the cycle boxing.
Yes.
Yeah. So I invented and I retired from cycle boxing. Now, cycle boxing is riding your bike, not a stationary bike. That's a lot of
That's cheating for amateurs.
Could do that, but cycle boxing, the purists ride their bike with no hands, and the purists have like 5 or 10 pound weights. And you shadow box while you ride your bike with no hands. And so, but I don't do that anymore. It's too dangerous. I got injured too many times, and I think the city might have made it illegal or whatever, So I don't do that anymore. But that was something. Now I don't do that anymore. So now driving is the third portion of my.
Okay.
That's a fair substitute.
Good. That's good. So you're saying the city council had to meet specifically to ban the cycle boxing because it was a craze that you were starting and you were having too many people. And while you were able to handle the cycle boxing, not everybody can handle it. And you're the tremendous athlete. These other people can't do it. It's dangerous for them. And so the city council had to say, you know what, Tommy, we're going to have to put an end to this for you.
Well, I'll tell you what, is a very dangerous sport, and for a number of years there, I was definitely the best mounted fighter on the planet.
I
Uh,
mean,
but do I think that the city council or something may have had something to do with putting an end to cycle boxing. I don't know. I don't try to get too involved in local politics, But what I can say is that I'm no longer cycle boxing, and it seems like nobody else is doing it either. So there's probably some sort of legislation put in the
yeah,
because I was being too dominant out there on the
yeah.
side. You know. Uh,
Now, now,
I will ask you this. So you mentioned when we start. Okay, so you say you're no longer cycle boxing, and what a lot of people don't know is back in the day you were. I mean, you still are, but back in the day you were a very popular musician, right? You said you picked up playing the guitar again. You were the man back in the day. You've been around the block as far as music goes. But I want to ask you a question, right? We've had this conversation quite a few times. Yeah, right. We've had this conversation quite a few times. You're a big music guy. You love bands. You like to play yourself. I think me and you have both been in agreement that the greatest band of all time is the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Now, the one thing that we disagree on is you're a big Pearl Jam guy. And now me and my dad both have our thoughts on Pearl Jam. Now, I want to ask you before we can get into a Pearl Jam debate, do you have a top 5 best bands of all time, and can you rifle them off right now? Or does that take more time?
yeah. So Red Hot Chili Peppers. Secondly, going in a slightly different direction, probably Leonard Skinner, and we're probably going to be going back in time now. But Leonard Skinner, Led Zeppelin, probably the Allman Brothers, and then the Beatles. Frankly,
okay.
no particular order other than my favorite band is the Red Hot Chili Peppers. So those other 4 could be really in any order. But my favorite band of all time is Red Hot Chili Peppers. 3 instruments make a tremendous amount of music. And that's just a personal thing. That's just a personal thing.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this then. Do you put, because you didn't put Pearl Jam in your top 5, and I know you like Pearl Jam. So Foo Fighters versus Pearl Jam.
Pearl Jam, Foo Fighters. Foo Fighters are weak sauce, dude.
Here we go, Tommy. Listen, the problem that I have is on the Pearl Jam. Like, so the Pearl Jam is we don't know what Eddie Vedder's saying. We've never known. There's no lyrics. It's just it's moaning, it's groaning, it's mouth heavy breathing mouth sounds. Um, that's not music. Like, at least with David Grohl, like, I mean, we're getting lyrics, we're getting things that we can understand, right?
So you're a guy that must understand what the lyrics mean.
I do like lyrics. I think lyrics.
I think lyrics
matter when it comes to a song. Um, it could just be me. I don't know.
I mean, yeah. Listen, Pearl Jam. I think Pearl Jam would be a fantastic band if they had any other lead singer.
Yes,
The rest of the band itself,
absolutely
fantastic.
And I will say this: like the songs themselves, like if I could understand what he's saying, I would like the songs. Yeah, like when so like I'm an old guy, Tommy. So I used to buy the cassettes, and then you pull the little wrapper out of the cassette, and it has all the lyrics of all the songs that are on the cassette tape. And so when you buy the Pearl Jam one, and you can read what the lyrics are supposed to be,
It's good.
it sounds like it would be a good song, but I don't know. I don't know what he's saying.
Yeah. And so just as an artist, I think that's part of the art. For me, Pearl Jam is not so much about what Eddie Vedder's words are. It's more about how his voice complements the instruments, you know, and that's just personal preference, right? And so
His voice and instrument.
his voice is an instrument for sure. For
Yeah.
sure. for sure. His voice is another instrument, and I don't care what the words are. And just like I don't care what the lyrics of the Red Hot Chili Peppers song, a lot of their lyrics are just, I mean, there's nobody that really, well, Anthony Kiedis will tell you if you go back, for instance, they're all like interrelated, right? So you can't.
They don't make much sense, but it all sounds good when it's put to music, right?
Right. So let me give you an example. So if you're familiar with the song "By the Way" by the Red Hot Chili Peppers, there's a girl that's referenced. Her name is Danny, and then there's a song called "Danny California." Same girl, apparently. The songs were written like 20 years apart, right? So the songs, you can't really. It's hard to understand what the poetics are as standalone lyrics in one particular song. Like the words don't mean a whole lot, but if you look at their whole body of music, there's some meaning there. But even that doesn't really matter as much to me as I just like the way their instruments sound and the vocals accompany that. Like I like the way it all sounds together. I like the composition. So that's my theory with with Pearl Jam is just, I will not dispute the fact that I can't understand what Eddie Vedder is saying. I just don't care because I think it sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I yeah, and I love it because you're the first Pearl Jam fan that will admit to that, and I love your take on it, Tommy. I'll tell you what, it's been an absolute pleasure. We've impeded on your 4th of July Eve for a long time. I know that you got to get ready. I know that you got some things going on. We're gonna schedule the Tommy Triathlon.
Absolutely.
Also, next time we have you, I absolutely want you to have guitar in hand.
Mhm.
And we'll do this. Come on, we got it.
Gotta get it. We gotta get
You
it done,
what I need you
Tommy.
to do, Tommy, is you need to prepare for when we have you on the pod next. You need to be able to play us a song.
It's going to take a few years.
Okay. Well, how about this? We have been talking about it, Tom, and I know you're probably up for the challenge, but I'm thinking that the next time or in the near future we get our buddy Duger on here as well, and we debate Duger on a sports topic. What do you think that? How do you think that plays out?
That's a wild card.
It is a wild
Total
Listen,
card, brother. I don't
Tommy,
I don't think it goes well. It's never gone well for me. Never
Tommy,
gone
I'm gonna tell you this.
my entire.
Tell you this. What I want, what I'm gonna give you the option for the next time, right? So I'm gonna give you the option either we have to talk about your Braves next time, or we get to hear you play the guitar. So you get to pick which we do next, and we'll go from there.
Wait, what are the two options?
Either you have to we have to talk about your Braves, or you play the guitar for us.
All right, I think we're talking about the Braves, man.
even though it's painful,
It's painful, man. It's painful. The Braves are like a very, very sad country song right now. Every single night, I posted something to Instagram tonight. The saddest country music artist that I know, and I was like, the Braves are just like a Chris Knight song, man. It's just depressing. But, anyways, fellas, it's been great being with you.
awesome.
And, y'all have a great night. All right.
All right, Tommy.
Appreciate it. Love you, brother. And we'll look forward to having you on the next time.
Well, that was our guy Tommy Dukes. Great friend of mine. Met him down there in Orlando, as you mentioned. He said he was born and raised in Orlando. We got dogs barking.
Studio audience today.
We got This was
incredible because we got the studio audience. We got the dogs. It just kind of adds to the mix.
We got a live show that we did tonight, and I think we did well under pressure.
I mean, Tommy's a treasure.
Tommy's fantastic.
Right?
I hope you guys love Tommy as much as we do. We want to have him on in the future. Let us know in the comments below if we should get Tommy back on for a round 2. As we mentioned also, it is, at the time of this recording, 4th of July Eve. Happy 4th of July. Just a real quick, we got our flag here. We were previously Liberty Sports. We just want to quickly, acknowledge the 4th of July and thank our troops and everything involved with the United States. What say you to close it out?
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't have said it any better. Happy Fourth to everybody, and enjoy what people have sacrificed to be able to give us what we do. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Lisa?
Well, we'll see you guys on the next one. As always, like, follow, subscribe on all of our socials, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and now Twitter will be linked in the bio below. And we love you guys. We will see y'all on the next one.
All right.